Blackwood Hall hid a deadly secret. 3 years ago, the billionaire's beautiful wife died. They called it a boating accident on the quiet estate lake, but no one ever explained the cut brake lines on her car just a week before. Now, a young South African woman has arrived. She came with nothing but hope to cook for the grieving owner. She has no idea what waits inside those walls. Someone in the house is still watching, waiting, ready to kill again. And this time, it starts with her. The relentless London rain hammered against the bus windows. Hard, unforgiving. Thandiwe and stepped out onto the wet pavement in Belgravia. It felt like another world, completely different from the dusty red earth paths of her rural village in Limpopo, South Africa. She was 25. Quiet strength in every step she took. Her skin, rich, deep ebony, seemed to glow even under these endless gray skies. High cheekbones, full lips, expressive dark eyes that carried stories of hardship and hope. Her natural hair styled in elegant cornrows. She wore a modest raincoat over her one good dress, the only nice outfit she had saved for this journey. Beautiful in an understated way. Magnetic, the kind of beauty that turned heads quietly, not loud, not flashy, just warm. From a resilient spirit, life back home had been a battle, a real one. Her father died young. Tuberculosis took him, left her mother alone, raising 3 children on whatever odd jobs the fields offered. Thandiwe gave up school to help. She learned to cook over open fires, hearty pachiko stews, slow-cooked with love, pap with thick, rich tomato relish, grilled meats marinated in peri-peri, the kind that woke the soul. Then her distant aunt in London spoke of better pay, domestic roles in grand homes, a real chance. So she saved every rand she could, borrowed from neighbors, prayed every night, and finally boarded a plane, work visa in hand, small suitcase, unyielding determination in her heart. The job advert had been discreet. Live-in private cook required for secluded estate. Generous compensation. Confidentiality essential. It brought her to Blackwood Hall, an imposing Victorian mansion tucked behind wrought iron gates on the edge of the city. Fog clung to the grounds like a shroud. The house itself seemed to brood, tall, gables piercing the sky, windows like watchful eyes. Thandiwe clutched her umbrella tighter, rang the bell, and waited. The heavy oak door swung open. A tall butler stood there, impeccably dressed. "Miss Thandiwe," he said with crisp formality. "I am Mr. Hargrove. This way, please." He guided her through echoing hallways, lined with oil portraits, antique rugs soft underfoot. The air carried hints of beeswax polish and fading roses. But underneath, a deep solitude. They entered a library. A fire crackled warmly. A man stood by the window, gazing out at the storm-lashed gardens. James Whitlock, the widowed billionaire, 45 years old. He commanded a global finance empire, algorithms safeguarding billions for governments and tycoons. But tragedy shadowed him. His wife, Eleanor, gone 3 years earlier. A suspicious boating accident on the estate's private lake. Whispers persisted. Accident, suicide amid depression, or something sinister linked to corporate enemies. James turned, his steel-gray eyes locked onto Thandiwe's. He was strikingly handsome, broad-shouldered, dark hair streaked silver at the temples, strong jaw shadowed by light stubble. Bespoke suit fit perfectly, but grief had etched lines around his eyes, making him seem both powerful and profoundly alone. "Miss Thandiwe," he said, offering a firm handshake. his voice low, cultured, with an edge of weariness. Your application stood out. African-inspired dishes with modern twists, fascinating in this dreary climate. Thandiwe met his gaze steadily. Thank you, Mr. Whitlock. I cook from the heart. Food from home carries sunshine, even on days like this. He motioned to a leather armchair. Please sit. Tell me why you've crossed continents for a position like this. Honesty spilled out. My family depends on me. My siblings need education. My mother needs health care. In South Africa, dreams often drown in poverty. Here, I can send money home, build a future. James leaned forward, intrigued. Ambition born of necessity. I respect that. Eleanor and I built everything from nothing. But since she's gone, this house echoes. I need someone to breathe life into it, beginning with meals that remind me joy exists. Their interview stretched longer than expected. Thandiwe described Village Bryce, under vast, starry skies, laughter around fires. James listened, guarded walls lowering just a little. Eleanor adored experimenting in the kitchen. He shared softly, French classics mostly, but she infused them with passion. A ghost of a smile appeared, then vanished, pain flickering in his eyes. Mr. Hargrove returned, escorted Thandiwe to her room, modest but comfortable. Staff quarters, a small window looking out at rain-soaked roses. Duties, breakfast at 8, lunch at 1, dinner at 7:30. Precision matters. And Miss Mthembu, Blackwood Hall guards its privacy fiercely. Curiosity can be unwise. Alone that night, Thandiwe unpacked, unease prickling her skin. The mansion groaned in the wind, as if harboring secrets. She dismissed it, focused on tomorrow. Her debut meal, slow-cooked oxtail stew with dumplings, spiced with cloves and allspice, blended with English carrots and potatoes. Morning light filtered weekly. Thandiwe entered the vast kitchen, gleaming copper pots, heritage August stove, ingredients from elite suppliers. She moved with graceful efficiency, browning meat until fragrant, layering flavors that evoked home. As she arranged breakfast, soft-boiled eggs with spicy Morogo spinach on toasted brioche, James appeared, drawn by the aromas. This scent, it's alive, he murmured, inhaling deeply, like sunlight breaking through clouds. Thandiwe smiled shyly. It's meant to warm the bones, sir. Taste it. Food should tell stories. He savored a forkful, eyes closing briefly. Extraordinary. Eleanor would have demanded the recipe. His voice caught. You've captured something I've missed. Her empathy stirred. Grief steals appetite, Mr. Whitlock. But good food fights back, one bite at a time. He studied her intently. Call me James. And thank you, Thandiwe. This is unexpected. Weeks blurred into routine, laced with intrigue. James ate solitary dinners, but began appearing in the kitchen, watching her chop, stir, season. Conversations deepened. She spoke of load-shedding blackouts, community resilience. He confessed boardroom betrayals that isolated him. Wealth by security, he admitted over brewed rooibos one evening. But not peace. Eleanor's death. Police ruled accident, but brake lines were tampered with. Rivals wanted my algorithms. Thandiwe's eyes widened. Tampered? You're still in danger. He dismissed it tensely. Precautions taken, but trust few here. Mysteries mounted. Nocturnal footsteps in corridors. A forbidden west wing door that rattled. Threatening letters arriving. Sell the firm or follow Eleanor. One slid under Thandiwe's door. Foreigners don't belong. Leave or suffer. Fear gripped her. Suspects? Mr. Hargrove's icy demeanor, or Clarissa Whitlock, James's ambitious younger sister? She visited with calculating smiles. Viewing Thandiwe as an interloper, Clarissa was poised, auburn-haired, a mergers expert eyeing family control. On a ferocious stormy night, Thandiwe prepared bobo tie, spiced mince topped with golden egg custard, served with yellow rice and chutney. James joined her as lightning flashed. You've transformed this kitchen, Thandiwe, and me. I feel human again. Her cheeks warmed under his gaze. It's the curry leaves, James. They awaken hidden things. He stepped nearer, voice husky. No, it's your light. In this darkness, a deafening crash shattered the moment, glass exploding upstairs. They dashed to the drawing room, furniture overturned, a brick through the window, bearing a note. She's marked 2. Thandiwe gasped. James pulled her protectively close. Stay near me tonight. No arguments. Heart racing from terror and his proximity, they sat by the hearth. Stories flowed. Lost loves. Buried dreams. Thandiwe felt an undeniable connection. Dangerous, yet intoxicating. But as embers died, doubts whispered, real threats, or manipulation. Could a village girl from Limpopo ever belong? In this labyrinth of wealth and peril, Blackwood Hall's shadows deepened, drawing Thandiwe into a tempest of emotion, suspense, and forbidden sparks. Weeks slipped by at Blackwood Hall. Thandiwe Mthembu felt herself caught between comfort and unease. The mansion no longer felt entirely foreign. The kitchen had become her sanctuary, filled with comforting scents from home. Smoking paprika, roasted coriander, the earthy sweetness of butternut simmering slowly in coconut milk. Warm, inviting, yet every night, when the house settled into deep silence, the shadows seemed to lengthen, pressed against her door, like something or someone was waiting just outside. James Whitlock was changing too. The man who once ate in cold solitude now waited quietly for her to finish plating, then carried his own tray to the small breakfast table in the kitchen corner. Formal dinners in the grand dining room. They were quietly abandoned. Instead, they shared simple meals under the warm glow of pendant lights, talking for hours about everything and nothing. One evening, after serving fragrant chicken curry, bright with samballs, fluffy basmati steaming beside it, Thandiwe lingered at the sink, washing the heavy pots. James poured 2 glasses of deep red wine, slid one gently across the marble counter. Toward her. You don't have to stand the whole time, he said softly, his voice low, reassuring. Sit with me. She hesitated, wiped her hands slowly on the tea towel. It doesn't feel right, Sir James. I'm staff. You're the only person in this house. Who sees me? He replied, voice even lower now. Not the money, not the company, not the widow's husband. Just me. That makes you more than staff, Thandiwe. Her heart. It stuttered. She reached for the glass. Fingers brushed his. Just a moment, but warmth raced through her. They sat, silence at first, comfortable, the rain tapping against the tall windows, like impatient fingers, wanting in. Tell me something true, James said suddenly, his steel-gray eyes fixed on her. Something you've never told anyone here. Thandiwe stared into the deep red liquid, watched it catch the light. I'm afraid, she whispered at last. Every night, I hear footsteps outside my room. Sometimes the handle turns, slowly, like someone is testing. If it's locked, I lie awake, pretend to sleep, Pray they go away. James's face darkened. Instantly, he reached across the small table, covered her hand with his. Warm, strong, protective. Why didn't you tell me sooner? I thought you'd think I was imagining it. Or worse, you'd send me away for causing trouble. Never, he said fiercely, his grip tightening just enough to reassure. This is your home now, as much as mine. Tomorrow, I'm installing cameras in the staff corridors. No one will touch you. The protectiveness in his voice sent warmth flooding through her, but it also deepened the ache in her chest. She was falling for him, dangerously, impossibly, a billionaire, grieving his lost wife, and a village girl from Limpopo with nothing to her name. It felt like a fairy tale, written by someone cruel, destined to end in heartbreak. The threats escalated soon after. A dead raven appeared on the kitchen windowsill. One gray morning, its neck twisted unnaturally, a small note pinned beneath its wing. Leave while you still can. Thandiwe screamed. The sound sharp, raw. In the quiet kitchen, James came running from his study, wrapped her in his arms. As she shook uncontrollably, Mr. Hargrove appeared moments later, removed the bird without a word, but his cold eyes lingered too long on Thandiwe, as if measuring her reaction, weighing something unspoken. That same afternoon, Clarissa Whitlock arrived, unannounced, tall, elegant, sharp green eyes, auburn hair swept into a flawless chignon. She swept into the kitchen like she owned the very air everyone breathed. So this is the famous cook, Clarissa said, voice dripping with honeyed ice. South African, isn't she? How exotic. Thandiwe kept her gaze steady, calm. Good afternoon, ma'am. Clarissa smiled thinly, the expression never reaching her eyes. James tells me you're indispensable. I do hope you're not getting ideas above your station. James appeared in the doorway. At that moment, jaw tight, barely controlled anger. Clarissa, I wasn't expecting you. Clearly, his sister replied coolly. I came to discuss the upcoming board vote. You've been distracted. Her eyes flicked meaningfully to Thandiwe. Some might say, recklessly so. Later, while restocking the pantry, Thandiwe overheard their voices, rising from the study. She's an employee, James. You're letting a pretty face cloud your judgment at the worst possible time. This isn't about Thandiwe. It's about you wanting control of the company. Don't be naive. Someone is trying to destroy you, sabotaging deals, leaking prototypes. And you bring a stranger into our home. How do you know? She isn't part of it. A heavy silence followed. Then James's voice, cold as steel. Get out, and don't come back until you can speak of her with respect. Thandiwe pressed a hand to her mouth to stifle the tears burning in her eyes. She fled quietly to her room, locked the door, sat on the edge of the narrow bed, heart pounding with shame and fear. That night, sleep refused to come. Restless, she wandered downstairs for a glass of water. The house was pitch black, except a thin strip of light under the forbidden west wing door. The one James had quietly warned her about. Never enter. Curiosity and fear warred inside her chest. She crept closer, breath shallow. The door was slightly ajar. A faint glow spilled from a desk lamp inside, heart hammering against her ribs. She pushed it open. The room was Eleanor's old study, untouched since her death. Photos of a smiling blonde woman lined the walls. Eleanor, on boats, at glittering galas, laughing in James's arms. Files marked confidential, rival threats lay scattered on the desk. In an open drawer sat a small velvet box containing a stunning sapphire engagement ring. But what froze Thandiwe's blood was the glowing computer screen, an unsent email draft addressed to a private investigator. Subject: background check, Thandiwe and James. Message: full history. Family: debts, connections in South Africa. Leave no stone unturned. Urgent: he was investigating her. She backed away in shock, knocked over a framed photo. It crashed to the floor. Shattered. Footsteps thundered down the hall. James appeared in the doorway, face pale in the dim light. Thandiwe, what are you doing here? I couldn't sleep. Her voice cracked. You don't trust me. He saw the open email, the broken frame, closed his eyes. Visible pain. It's not what you think. Then explain. Tears spilled down her cheeks. You said I was home here, but you're checking if I'm a threat, if I'm here to hurt you, like someone hurt Eleanor. James stepped forward, hands raised gently. I was going to delete it. Clarissa planted doubts, and for one weak moment, I listened, but I never sent it. I swear. How can I believe you? She whispered, voice breaking. Every day, I feel eyes on me, the bird, the notes, the footsteps. Maybe it's all because you think I'm dangerous. No, he reached for her again. This time she didn't pull away completely. Thandiwe, look at me. I've fallen in love with you. Completely. That terrifies me, because everyone I love ends up hurt. The confession hung between them, raw, trembling, in the quiet room. I'm scared too, she admitted, tears falling freely now. I love you, James, but I'm just a girl from a village, with nothing. How can this ever work, when your world wants me gone? He pulled her gently into his arms. This time, she let him. She buried her face in his chest, breathing in cedar. Warmth, safety. We'll make it work, he murmured, into her braids. Together. I'll protect you. I promise. She clung to him, needing to believe it, but even in that embrace, doubt lingered, like a cold whisper. In the back of her mind, the next morning brought the worst yet. Thandiwe woke to chaos outside her window. Police cars lining the gravel driveway. Blue lights cutting through the gray dawn. Mr. Hargrove met her at the kitchen door, his face grimmer than usual. Miss Mthembu, the detective inspector, wants to speak with you. Now, in the drawing room, two officers waited, alongside James, who looked as though he hadn't slept at all. Dark circles shadowed his eyes. What's happening? Thandiwe asked, fear rising like bile in her throat. The detective, a weary woman named Inspector Core, held up a clear evidence bag containing a small black flash drive. This was found hidden in your room. During a search we conducted at dawn, she said calmly, it contains stolen Whitlock finance source code. Enough to bankrupt the company if released. Care to explain? Thandiwe's world tilted violently. That's impossible. I've never seen it. James stared at her, eyes wide with shock. And something far worse, the faintest flicker of doubt. Thandiwe, he said quietly, almost pleading, tell me you had nothing to do with this. The pain in his voice cut deeper than any accusation ever could. I swear on my mother's life, she said, tears streaming down her face. Someone is trying to frame me. Please, James, believe me. Clarissa stood in the corner of the room, arms folded tightly, a faint, satisfied smile playing on her lips as she watched the scene unfold, as officers led Thandiwe to a chair for formal questioning. James turned away, unable to meet her eyes any longer. In that single heartbreaking moment, the fragile trust they had built so carefully, shattered, just like the photo on Eleanor's study floor. And deep in the house, unseen by anyone, a figure watched from the shadows, waiting patiently for the final move. The drawing room at Blackwood Hall felt like a courtroom. Thandiwe sat rigid, under the detective's steady gaze, her hands clasped so tightly her knuckles paled against her deep ebony skin. The flash drive lay on the coffee table, like a poison vial. James stood by the fireplace, back turned, shoulders tense. Clarissa lingered near the door, satisfaction barely veiled. Mr. Hargrove hovered silently in the shadows. "I didn't put it there," Thandiwe said again, her voice trembling, but clear. "Someone came into my room. Someone who wants me gone." The detective, a weary woman named Inspector Corr, sighed. "We'll need to take you to the station for formal questioning, Miss Mthembu. Procedure." James finally turned, his gray eyes stormy with conflict. "She stays here until we have proof," he said firmly. "This is my house. Run whatever tests you need on site." Inspector Corr raised an eyebrow, but nodded. "Fingerprints and forensics will take a few hours. No one leaves." As the officers sealed Thandiwe's room, James pulled her aside in the corridor, his voice hoarse. "I should have believed you instantly. I'm sorry." Tears welled in her eyes. "You looked at me like I was a stranger. That hurt more than anything." He reached for her cheek, thumb brushing away a tear. "I was afraid of losing you, the way I lost Eleanor. But I see clearly now. I choose you, completely." Before she could respond, Mr. Hargrove approached. "Sir, the new security footage from the staff wing is ready in your study." They gathered around James's laptop. The time-stamped video began. Previous night, 2:17 a.m. A figure in dark clothing slipped into Thandiwe's room. Hood up, face obscured, moved quickly, opened her drawer, planted the flash drive, then left. Thandiwe's breath caught. "That's not me." James froze the frame, zoomed in on the intruder's hand as it closed the drawer. On the wrist glinted a distinctive gold watch, engraved with the Whitlock family crest. Only two people in the house owned such watches, James and Clarissa. Clarissa, watching over their shoulders, went deathly pale. That could be doctored. James turned slowly to his sister. "You were wearing that watch yesterday. I noticed because you never take it off. Mother's gift to you." Clarissa's composure cracked. "You're accusing me? Your own sister? Over her?" She pointed at Thandiwe, venom in her voice. James's voice was ice. "Show me your wrist." Clarissa hesitated, then defiantly raised her sleeve. The watch was gone. Inspector Corr stepped forward. "Miss Whitlock, we'll need to search your quarters now." Clarissa bolted for the door. Officers blocked her. In minutes, they found the watch, hidden in her jewelry box, and in her bedside drawer, a stack of threatening notes, written in the same hand as those sent to Thandiwe and James. The dead raven's feathers matched one tucked in her coat pocket as Clarissa was led away in handcuffs, screaming accusations of betrayal. She spat one final barb at Thandiwe. "You'll never belong here. You're nothing." James didn't even look at her. He turned to Thandiwe, eyes shining with regret and relief. She wanted control of the company, thought if she scared you away and framed you for corporate espionage, I'd collapse, and she could take over. She's been leaking information to rivals for months. Thandiwe's knees buckled. James caught her, held her close, as sobs finally broke free, not of fear now, but of release. "I thought I'd lose everything," she whispered against his chest. "My job, my safety. You've lost nothing, he murmured, and gained everything. Stay with me, not as staff, as my partner, my love. He pulled back, dropped to one knee, right there in the corridor, heedless of the officers. From his pocket, he drew the sapphire ring, the one Thandiwe had seen in Eleanor's study weeks ago. I bought this the day after our first shared dinner, he said, voice thick. I was going to wait, give you time. But life is too fragile for waiting. Thandiwe Mthembu, you brought light back into my world when I thought it was gone forever. Will you marry me? Tears streamed down her face, but she was smiling, radiant, disbelieving, joyful. Yes, she breathed. 1,000 times yes. He slipped the ring onto her finger, stood, and kissed her, deeply, tenderly, as if sealing a promise, against every storm they'd weathered. Months later, on a crisp spring morning, Blackwood Hall was transformed. Sunlight poured through open windows. Flowers from the once-neglected gardens filled every room. Thandiwe, now enrolled part-time at a prestigious culinary institute, her fees paid by a trust James established, stood in a simple white dress. It hugged her curves, her cornrows adorned with fresh jasmine. Her mother and 2 brothers had flown in from Limpopo, wide-eyed at the grandeur, but beaming with pride. James waited at the end of the rose-lined aisle in the garden, handsome in a tailored suit, eyes only for her. As vows were exchanged, beneath an ancient oak, Thandiwe spoke from the heart. I came here with nothing but hope and a suitcase of spices. You gave me safety, love, a future, but more than that, you showed me that home isn't a place. It's the people brave enough to open their hearts. James's voice shook with emotion. You taught me that wealth means nothing without kindness, that grief can end, that love can begin again, brighter, deeper, truer, when they kissed as husband and wife. Applause rose from staff, from a small circle of true friends, even Mr. Hargrove, who had tearfully confessed to suspecting Clarissa, but fearing to speak, dabbed his eyes. In the years that followed, Blackwood Hall became legendary, not for its shadows, but for its warmth. Thandiwe opened a foundation, teaching disadvantaged youth culinary skills, funded by James's empire, now ethically restructured. Her brothers attended university. Her mother lived in a cottage on the estate, tending the gardens that bloomed like never before. And every evening, no matter how busy their lives became, James and Thandiwe cooked together, in the kitchen where it all began, laughing, tasting, stealing kisses over simmering pots. The storms had passed. Light remained. True wealth isn't measured in money, houses, or power. It's in the courage to trust again after loss, the humility to see value in someone the world overlooks, and the grace to choose love over fear. We often fear difference, different backgrounds, different skin, different stories. We think it threatens what we already have, but the greatest treasures in life come disguised as the unfamiliar, a stranger's kindness, a quiet heart, an open hand from across an ocean. When we judge by appearances or status, we risk losing the very people who could heal us. When we dare to look deeper, we discover love doesn't ask for equality of circumstance. It only asks for equality of heart. Thandiwe and James remind us the richest life is built not on guarding what we own, but on sharing it with honesty, with generosity, and with the belief that every soul, no matter where they began, carries light worth welcoming home. Thank you for letting me tell this story with you. I hope it touched your heart. Red heart. If this story moved you, please hit that like button and subscribe for more heart-touching tales. It means the world and helps keep these stories coming. Tell me in the comments, where are you watching from today? I love reading every single one.